Welcome to the Believe and Achieve podcast with Lyndon Longhorne and Jay Manners. You will learn many hints and tips throughout this program. It will be a process which will be ongoing and will inspire you throughout your career. Let's go. Welcome back to the Believe and Achieve podcast with myself, Lyndon Longhorne, and Jay Manners. Today we are going to be talking about challenges. Now, I know a lot of people will probably think challenges can be a wide area to cover, but we have broken it down. We were going to talk about injury and illness, but we are going to give you an overview of the challenges of what we've overcome. So obviously we've got injury and illness that we're going to cover. We've got challenges that we're going to face from a club point of view, from going to competitions, from what we've faced, whether we've moved clubs, how we've found it, and just trying to adapt to a new situation, to be honest with you. But obviously Jay's going to cover his story, aren't you, Jay, and explain everything about that. So
of course, yeah.
So obviously I know things have been tough within the last year, and I know we covered it in the last one about the challenges we faced through lockdown and things like that. But what, over the years that you've been swimming, how long have you been swimming now?
It's about 12 years now. I started competitively about 8 or 9.
So in that 12 years, what would you say that is been your most challenging experience?
My most challenging? I would say, as a personal point of view, and the swimming career that I've been through, is not making nationals early on as a younger age. I was 18 when I first made my first nationals, but then came away with a silver medal at my first one. So it was a bittersweet moment, but I think it was seeing everyone my age when I was 13, 14, 15 making nationals, and I was the outsider, so to speak. And it was hard because I was training really, really hard, and I just wasn't understanding why I wasn't qualifying for nationals or why I wasn't going.
Yeah.
But I feel looking back at it now, I was I'm a late developer, as a person. Yeah. I developed quite late, and I didn't really gain any muscle or learn about my body as much until I started to get 17, 18, 19.
Yeah.
And then that's when the results started to pay off. I was doing everything that I possibly could at the time, but it was just that weight, year after year after year, being so close to making it and not making it. That was very challenging for me, but looking back, I wouldn't change it for the world. But that's a personal challenge of mine. What about you?
For me, I would say the biggest one that hit me was obviously I'd started my swimming back in 2008, which I'll be covering later on in the podcast to explain about the full journey, what I've covered. But I feel personally, the times when I've been to trials for para games and missing out. So obviously I'd set my sights so high on making London in 2012, and I'd only been swimming for 4 years, and I'd missed the qualifying time. And yes, it was downer, but I was after 4 years of training, I can't really complain. And it was kind of I'd say physically I was fine with it, but mentally it would kind of really struck upon us to say, well, why have I wasted 4 years of doing that? And I think when you're in that moment of being at the age what you are, it kind of takes over you and you don't really know about it. Also, the same happened when I went to trials for Rio, and that didn't happen either. But it's kind of one of those, for me, going from London to Rio was a big learning curve, and I didn't find it so hard after then. Yes, I took a break, but it was kind of I needed that break, because with para sport, once you're in a category, it's getting yourself out of that category to make yourself be more not more known, but more competitive. And the years that went by, there was new people that coming in, and you just thought to yourself, bloody hell, how the hell am I getting through this, to be honest with you? So then obviously I took a 2-year gap, and I think that 2-year gap is massively helped me out to understand myself a bit more, to learn about it. And I look back now, and obviously, yes, I was a torchbearer in 2012, but for me, if I didn't take the break after Rio, then like I probably wouldn't have understood myself a bit better, to be honest with you. I think as well, like yes, I've had challenges with swimming, like from that point of view, but I've also had like operations, illness, things like that going on in the background. So it's been a challenge all around, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I feel like there's no sort of journey without challenges, is there? And it's what
100%.
what makes you you, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like from my journey of like being having to be patient, like I'm now like a really patient person. I've learned to be resilient through my swimming career and even through life. Like
Yeah.
it's not just swimming. Like it's just learned to be patient and being patient through these very tough times as well it's crucial as well with that.
Yeah.
But like on an injury standpoint, when I was younger and I was in Durham, I broke my wrist, my left wrist. I was at
Right. Okay.
at a local park, and how I'd done that was I was on a slide and I fell back, and I must have fell about 6 foot and just smacked my wrist on the
Oh.
floor. And obviously, I think I was 10, maybe 11, something like that.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
really young, and I was out with my mates, and like one of my mates came over and just said, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" I was like, "Doesn't look like I'm all right. Like my wrist is just." I don't know what it just wasn't functioning right at all, and I just
So
knew
was it like fully bent back, or was it
I
like?
couldn't look at like because I'm one of these
Oh.
people that's very squeamish, and I just cannot look.
Yeah.
But my friend phoned my mum. She came rushing down. We went straight to hospital, and I snapped the bone.
Yeah.
So I obviously did have to have surgery and going through an operation. But like at this time, I was like just not learn to swim, but like I was N&D qualifier and
Yeah.
county qualifier, and regional. So like I was pretty decent at that age as well. So that was also very annoying because it happened on a Sunday. I remember rightly because we were watching Dancing on Ice.
Yeah.
in the waiting area.
What a time to remember it.
Yeah, and obviously had to get a cast, and it was my option if I wanted to have an operation on the night or tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like tomorrow. Like we decided just have some rest and then come back tomorrow. Operation went well. I hated
Luckily.
it. Luckily, yeah. But like I remember waking up and you just feel so dizzy. I don't know with
Yeah.
your operations. Do you feel dizzy when you wake up?
Yeah, it's the like when you get knocked. Were you knocked out for it? Or
Yeah,
did you
yeah,
have a
yeah.
local? Yeah. Every time you wake up, you kind of like, what's going on? Like, where am I at? Type of thing, and you kind of your mind forgets where you're at, and as soon as you wake up, and you think, wait there, where's my arm? Like I know
Yeah.
when I had the operation on my arm, I was like, where's my arm?
Yeah.
Like I know I definitely had an arm when I went to sleep. I know I'm missing one, but where's the other one gone?
Yeah. And it was like that, and like I woke up and I was just so dizzy, and then my mum and my dad were just like, "Go back to sleep. Like you just need to go back to sleep." So I went back to sleep, woke up, and I was just like on a high. Really, I was just like in a really good mood. And then like fast forward during them 6 weeks, I was obviously I was out of the pool for a long time, but I was going into the sessions and helping out as well, like watching the swimmers and stuff, and I just being around like the pool, it was great. And then when I had to take when they had to take, because I had wires in to help like put the bones back together.
Yeah.
And when I had like to get the wires pulled out, I had two. So one was like in just there.
Yeah.
They pulled that one out, that was fine. And then this one on top of here, I didn't have any numbing when they were taking out the wires.
Oh, nah.
So we didn't know this because the nurse thought the doctor was going to put anaesthetic in, but the doctor thought the nurse was going to do that in. So a wire was halfway out, and they were yanking it and yanking it. Blood was pouring everywhere. Like my nana, my mum and my nana were in the room, but like my mum had to go out because she was so grey and nearly passed out.
Oh wow!
But my nana was just taking my mind off it, and she just looked at the doctor and was just like, you better know what you're doing here. Like
Yeah.
this is serious, because like the blood was just pouring out, and he was already halfway, and he was just like, I'm so sorry, but I'm just gonna have to like just pull it now. Pulled it,
Yeah.
and I was screaming. Like I was probably screaming the whole hospital down. It was
Jesus,
so
bloody
so
hell.
painful. But like looking back at it now, and I think that's why I have such a high pain threshold,
Yeah.
because of that experience. And then I was out, and then it was another 3 weeks until I actually got back in the water again, and it didn't take long at all for me to get my technique back, and
Yeah.
like my left arm felt like really really stronger, like not so long. So it, like a lesson from that is like, if you do get like a serious injury like that, it's not the end of the world. Like sometimes
Yeah.
the place where you injure sometimes becomes stronger because you're working harder for it,
Yeah.
and it turns out to be stronger. And yeah, I've got scars of what's from when you pulled the wires out, and you can still see
Nice.
that it's just like a long scar, because you know how like
Yeah.
properly yanking it
Welcome to the
out.
Scar Crew then.
I know. So yeah, that was my traumatic experience as a 10-year-old.
Wow. Jesus. What a nice experience to have as a 10-year-old though. Like when you think about most 10-year-olds are probably like break the collarbone or like something like that. Nah, Jay just goes and like breaks his wrist and needs wiring and everything to
Yeah.
do him. But yeah. Would you say
Never again.
is that the most severe thing that you've had, or is that just like a minor thing that you've ever come across?
Injury wise, that was the most serious. But I
Yeah.
think I was quite lucky because I was so young in the sport as well.
Yeah.
The only other serious injury that I had was I. Do you know when you're walking
Yeah.
and like, there's like loads of rabbit holes, and your foot just like twists into the rabbit hole?
Well, no, because I don't walk over rabbit holes, but fair enough.
That's true. That is true. But like for the viewers out there, do you know when you're walking? Do you know when
I'll
you're
go with
walking
it. It's fine.
and you just twist your foot off like a curb or a rabbit hole, and
Oh,
like I went into like, because it really hurts. It does really really
yeah.
hurt. And I remember going into training that night, and like I was in pain, and like you could see that it was turning color and everything. And I remember it was when I was at Sunderland at the time. We do we'd done a kick set with Finn, and
Oh wow.
I just powered through it. Like I was just like, oh, this is now like my foot's all right. It hurts, but like I can get through it easily. Next
Yeah.
day, my mum like took me to the hospital. Turns out it was fractured. So I was doing a fast kick session with Finn's with a fractured foot
Wow.
without even realizing.
That's some going that though. Like to get to a kick set and not even know that you've like fractured your foot or anything. Bloody hell.
Yeah, so I think from when I broke my wrist, and obviously that trauma from getting the wires out, like that's
Put
the
your pain threshold up.
pain threshold there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
So was your foot after you'd done your wrist, or was
Oh
was
yeah,
it the other way around?
like my foot was when I was about 14,
Yeah.
15. Because I remember it was one of my first sessions at Sunderland as well. So of course I was just thinking like, well, I don't want to get out after my first few swim sessions at Sunderland,
Yeah.
like, and just look like I can't handle it. So like
Yeah.
that was the mental side of it as well, and I think that's what pushed me through the session. And I got
Yeah.
out, and like when I got home, like my foot was just black and blue all
Oh.
over, like the side and where my ankle
Yeah.
was. And yeah, it was fractured.
Wow. Well, at least you know your pain threshold's higher now then. So
Oh, I know, yeah. But I feel like it's one of them swimmers things. Like you just want to blank out anything that's hurting you,
yeah.
and you just want to power through it. But sometimes you do need to listen to your body, and it does take that someone to say like,
Yeah.
look, you are,
Just calm it down
yeah,
type of thing, and you need to chill out. Yeah.
yeah,
I know how you feel. Because like so obviously years ago I basically started coming out with quite a bit of infections. I was on antibiotics like quite a bit of the time. And this was after like what, 3-4 years of being in the water. So like not long after London that it all started to kick off. And I was like, I had one which was on my stomach, and I've got a scar on it still. But like I come out with like an abscess. So an abscess is when like a follicle is like ingrown and stuff. And I was like, put on antibiotics, was fine, started to go down, and then just started to get bigger like after 48 hours. And I was like, that's not even normal, that like. And then went to the doctors. The doctor was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to admit you. And I was like, oh great, champion. So I went to hospital. I was put on IV antibiotics. Started to get through all that. Didn't even go down up from IV antibiotics. So then had to go for an operation to get it like cut open and stuff. And I'll never forget it because I was like in that much pain, and I just wanted it gone because I was just like, it's absolutely killing us. Don't know why. It was just absolute, just at that moment. And then took me down to theatre. And I was like, they said to us beforehand, yeah, we'll knock you out. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Then when I got down, no, we're just going to give you a local. And I was like, okay, fair enough. Now, me being me, anything like surgery wise and stuff like that, I'd rather just be knocked out. Like, I just don't know what it is. I just don't like being awake. Unless it's something minor, then I'm like, yeah, just do it now. Like, I don't care. And then they give us the numbing stuff to say, right, let us know when it's done. Put the scalpel on. He's like, can you feel that? I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh God, this isn't great. Like,
oh no.
Then after about 15, 20 minutes, and he was like, right, I'm gonna give you another one. Just give us another one. Still felt it. And I was like, I can still feel you touching with that scalpel where it's at. Well, that was it. It gave me after a few moments, he gave us another one, and I was like, I'm starting to feel a bit queasy. Like what the hell? Well, none of them worked at all, and I felt the scalpel go straight through, and I was just like, nah, this is not good. In the end, I just blacked out, and I was like, nah, that's not on. Woke up, and I was just like, you know, when you wake up from coming out of theatre, you're just like, why can't I move properly? And I was like, oh God, I know why. I just was like, no way. And it was horrendous. So I had that experience, and then when I had my break, to be honest with you, that I had my operation done on my arm. So basically, I've had, like, all the years from meningitis, I've always gone across the floor. And for all the viewers that are watching or know me, like, they'll know how I've moved, like, just by using my left arm all the time, which is why I've always had problems with my elbow. So, like, I've got what's called golf and tennis elbow. So on both sides, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's just like, it's always going to be there. And I feel like it has its days where it's all right and then not all right. But I've always had a problem where these two fingers will just go numb and I can't do anything about it. And I was like, it was getting to the point where it was just getting worse.
For the people who are like listening through audio, like it's your two last fingers, isn't it? Like pinky and
yeah. So it's like your pinky and the one next to your pinky as well. Don't ask me what they're called because I don't know the names of them. But fair enough.
I just know the pinky.
A pinky. It's the pinky and its partner. That's pinky and the brain, as I always call them. But fair enough.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So basically, I started to have loads of tests done, and we were like, right, we think it's your arthritis that's causing it, but we're not 100% sure. So I had to be sent to a specialist. So I was sent to a specialist, got loads of scans done. He's like, you do know your ulnar nerve's trapped? And I was like, sorry, what? And he was like, basically, your elbow has got my elbow's got like a 90-degree angle, which is cut into it. And my elbow is like sitting with the bone inside of it, which is why my elbow is like out of place type of thing. And I was like, oh my God, like what the hell?
Wow.
And he was like, basically the ulnar nerve is being brought with the elbow and that it's like trapped in the bone itself. And I was like, oh my God, like this doesn't sound that great, but fair enough. So like that's what was causing the numbness in my hand. So I was like, right, is there anything you can actually do? He's like, yeah, we can operate, but there's a risk that you might either lose function of your arm or lose your arm permanently. And I was just like, oh my God, like my arm all the way through life, like I'm 25 now, and it's basically does everything. Like it's like and an arm to me. Without that, like I'd be absolutely screwed, to be honest with you. And mentally for me, it kind of like started to pull us down because I was like, once you've had something that you've grown up with all your life and you've learned to adapt to it, I was like, I just don't know how I'm going to cope if I lose my arm itself. like it's not something I actually wanted to think about. And then basically I had to have like quite a bit of testing done before it happened, before I went for surgery. And I'll never forget it. I went to surgery and the guy took me in and they tried to get a cannula into us. Now, me having a cannula is not the best because I just do not show at all for like finding the correct vein. Well, they were like, oh, yeah, well, might have to put it in your neck. I was like, you're not going anywhere near my neck. I'm sorry, but no thanks. If you're going in my neck, you can knock me out. Like, I'm not having that in there. And then when I woke up, I remember saying to the guy before they knocked me out, I was like, as long as I wake up with my arm, I don't care what you've got to do. Just make sure that I wake up with my arm. Like, I'm not bothered about anything else. And then when I woke up, the guys were like, yeah, we've moved it and it's all gone right, but we opened your arm like a little bit further up, so you've got like a bigger scar. So like now I've got like a scar, which is like, just goes with the rest of them, to be honest with you. I'm like, it's like a family of scars. Welcome to the team. But now it's like, yeah, it's just one of those where, for me, that was like quite a big mental challenge because it was just one of those where, like, yes, I've grown up all my life without my legs and my right arm, but now it's like, shit, could I actually lose my left arm? And I know it's been mentioned to me years ago, but when it gets to that point of like need an operation for it, you just think to yourself, okay, shit's actually real. Like,
yeah,
it could actually happen now. So yes, I've had challenges in the water, but outside the water with health and things like that, that for me was like a one that hit me quite a bit. And I was just like, how am I going to adapt to this? How am I going to adapt to that? And I was like, I just don't think I could retrain my brain. And it's like I've always said, like, I'm pleased it happened when I was younger, but the thing is, I'll never know what it's like with the challenge now, if that makes sense. So, like, if I had my legs now and I was struck down with meningitis at 25, it's kind of like, would I be the same person I am today, or would things be different, type of thing? So there's two different parts to it, the way you look at it, but
yeah, definitely. And was that like surgery recent? Did you say that was like during your break?
yeah, so I had it back in 2019. Like June 2019 was when I had it.
And what did it feel like getting back in the water again? Did you feel any different, or?
It was weird. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, because obviously I've not been used to the strength what my arms had. Like, yes, it's had the strength there to do like front crawl, fly, backstroke, breaststroke, whatever, medley, whatever I've needed to do. But it did give me that extra bit of strength, and my arm did feel stronger from it. Like, yes, it still has its times now, and there's nothing I can do about it, where my elbow is in pain, but like that's just like something what I have to manage. But whereas compared to before, I definitely feel better for it now. But if it's like, if I didn't get it done then, what would the next 10, 15, or however many years do for it? So that's why I chose, I'd rather have it done now while I'm out the water, because I knew it was only like it's about 3-4 months recovery to get my arm back to normal. But like trying to have your arm strapped up and only have a stump to try and do everything, Jesus, I was just like, what the hell? Like, why? What have I known different from having my arm? And that was a challenge in itself, just to try and get things sorted out. So
yeah, there's so many factors with that as well. And like, when you said it felt weird about getting back in the pool again, that'll probably be down to the fact like you haven't swam for 2 years as well. So, so that's another factor, like going back into it. But luckily you've managed to like push through and everything like that. And it's like the same with my wrist. It's like, when you come back to it, like you feel like you're coming back stronger, as if like from your weakest, like from the side that you're injured or whatever you've injured. What is there any other injuries that you've had seriously, or was?
I think they're the only two that I've come across in my whole swimming career. I mean, we had a scare. When was it? 2020. It's like obviously before the pandemic all kicked off. So obviously I had meningitis when I was younger, but then in the end of December, January, going into New Year, we had a scare where I'd actually come home with meningitis again, and they were like quite worried that it was going to progress further. And I was like, oh my God, like that was also a scary part, because it's just like, is it bacterial or is it viral? And yes, I do a lot of work with meningitis now, and we always go around doing awareness and talks and things like that. But for me, when you hear them words, you just think you fear the worst.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I was rushed into hospital because I wasn't feeling like 100%, and I was like, I don't know what it is. Like, just did not feel myself at all, and I started to get a headache, and all the symptoms that were coming back. Felt sick, light, and I was like, I have got some of the symptoms for it. But obviously, I wasn't thinking that. I had it in my head, but I just thought, don't let your head overthink it in case it's not that. And I was like, okay. Took us into hospital, had some tests done, took my bloods, and they're like, yeah, we need to keep you in. And I knew then, because I wasn't told what it would be, but I had a rough idea when it was quite severe and they keep you in. It was like, right, I think I kind of get it now. The doctor come around and was like, yeah, you've got a hint of viral meningitis as well. And I was like, here we go again. Like, what on earth is going to happen now? So I was kept in, but I was put on a isolation bay. So I wasn't allowed to basically see anyone just in case I did have it. And it was like, if not so much like infect anyone, but more the spread of it. Because like if someone's in contact with me, then they have to go on medication to actually like make sure that they haven't received this. Because bacterial gets your bloodstream, whereas viral can affect you like in a minor way. Yes, I know loads of people that's had it quite severe and it's really affected them. But when I had that, they also said, like, we need to do a spinal test on you. Now, a spinal test can either mean you have 1, 2, or 3 injections in your back. Straight away, I just turned around and went, nah. Like, I know I should have just went, yeah, do it. But at the same time, I was like, no, like, unless I progressed any worse and I started decline, then I'll be like, right, do it. Then you won't have a choice, just do it then. But I knew on myself, I was like, I feel all right. And then I was put on, so I was in the RVI, and I would never forget it because I was put on the top floor. And I was like, why the hell am I being put on top floor? But obviously, anyone who's in like an isolation bay goes up the top. Well, I just had people coming in like PPE and everything. And I was like, this is actually scary shit, this, like.
Yeah.
But I was in for like 3 or 4 days. And then obviously everything started to calm itself down. But like my temperature went up to like a high 38. And I was like, right, like this is not great the way my temperature's going. Once you carry in 1 or 2, even just 1, to be honest with you, it's better just to go and get it checked because you never know. But like, yeah, and then just getting back in the water after that, and obviously the challenge of trials coming up. Luckily, it didn't go ahead because of the pandemic. But like, it's everything kind of like jumbles itself together, and I feel like without these challenges that you have in life, you kind of not getting the correct, like on the right path. With a challenge, it knocks you off, but you're able to pick yourself back up and move forward again and get back on like challenge yourself again with it. So
it makes you, doesn't it? Like it just makes who you are, 100%.
Definitely.
I remember there was one time when we were in Durham and we went on a training camp to Aberdeen, and I think it was on the last day. You were rushed into hospital, weren't you?
Oh yeah, it was. I forgot about that.
What was that about again? Because like obviously, so I was about 12. I think I was 12 at the time, and obviously, like I wasn't really aware of like what was going on, and like obviously we were really worried of, are you all right? Like But what did happen?
I'm quite badly asthmatic, and like my asthma has had points in its life. So I also had a case back in like December 2012 when I had a case where I was blue lighted to hospital. That was like, this is the thing, I've always had challenges through life medically wise, and it's always been that like the part of me what makes me, because I get back up and I just go on with it like as though nothing's happened. But like 2012, so obviously I'll go back to Aberdeen in a minute, but in 2012 I had a scare where I couldn't say a word at all, couldn't even talk, couldn't get anything out. And obviously from my family's end, they'd contacted 111, and obviously the woman at the end was like, right, we need to speak to you. Bearing in mind at this point, I'd used half a blue inhaler which had emptied it, and I'd also used another half of a blue. But by this point, my head was spinning, started seeing stars, everything. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And then basically, by the time I was still on the phone to 111, there was a paramedic, rapid response, and a doctor who was on the way up like to my mum's house. And I was just like, oh my God. never forget it because the paramedic picked me up and just threw me in the back of the ambulance and took me straight to hospital. Is that I can't waste any time because you might not make it. And as soon as someone says that, you just like, just do what you need to do. Like, I don't care. But at that point, I thought I was going to have to be knocked out. But fast forward to when we went on the camp to Aberdeen, that was when I'd also had another asthma attack. Now, bearing in mind, I've had a few asthma attacks in the swimming pool, but nothing like severe. Yes, I've had cases where I've been rushed into hospital, but then being let out the same day. But when I was in Aberdeen, it was like through the night where my asthma just got progressively worse. My blue inhaler wasn't doing anything. And I was starting to get to that point where I could only say like 2 words. And I was like, I'm actually getting worse now. And I've started to use like a traffic light symbols. Basically, I work green is in how I am now. Amber is when like, yeah, okay, I can feel myself getting worse, but it's manageable.
Yeah.
And I just need to go and get a prescription. And then red is where literally like just call 999 because like I'm getting to that point of like I need seriously need help and I need more like oxygen to help us out. But yeah, at that point, and I never forget it because you were all coming back, and I had to stay in hospital for an extra like 3 or 4 days in Aberdeen, and I was just like, what the hell? But yeah, it was. I think it was a scary experiences.
I think I've got a photo from like of you in the hospital actually because I remember like you were in a blue top and like or something and you were just waving at the camera like I'm fine. That was during the night, wasn't it? Was that?
Yeah, it was. I think it was at like 11, 12 o'clock at night, if I remember rightly. Yeah.
I remember we woke up and the next morning, our coach at the time said like, "Oh, Lyndon's been took in the hospital overnight," and we're like, "What? Like, how? Like, what? Like, we were just like, oh my god, like, is he all right and everything like that?" And he says, "Yeah, like he's fine. He's like he's in a better, like, safer place. Like, he's getting checked up on and stuff like that, which was good." And yeah, you were like there for another extra few days. I think one of our coaches were there as well with you.
Yeah, they had to stay with us because I was basically like, I couldn't do anything. I was literally in hospital for like, I think it was like 3-4 days that I was kept in for.
Yeah.
But like the thing is with asthma, like you can be fine 1 minute, the next minute it can just click and like it's out of your control what you can do. But I feel like at the time, like now I've got better with it with like learning over the years with it now. Yeah. But there's like certain times, like even going to hotels, like you have to check if like it's feathered pillows because sometimes the feathers can set it off, or if it's like a feathered quilt, things like that. So you might think it's like a bit excessive, but at the same time, you'd rather check. Otherwise, if you go there, and you might go to sleep and not wake up. Like I know loads of people with asthma who's gone to sleep one night and not woke up the next morning. But obviously, I know you're not asthmatic, correct?
Yeah, I'm not, no.
Yeah, so it's for yourself. If you're with someone and you've never been around it and click your fingers and it strikes you, it's like, whoa, what on earth's going on here type of thing. But you kind of got to take a step back and be like, right, what do I need to do? But I think unless you follow that procedure, then like you're absolutely fine. But
yeah, amazing, incredible stories, really, and like obviously overcoming them and everything like that. It's a bit like me when whenever I'm ill. So I've had like really like pretty serious illnesses as well. I think it was like the same year like when like you took bad at Aberdeen. It was later on in that year I qualified for my first regional short course for the 1500, and like obviously I was over the moon and couldn't wait to race. I then got glandular fever. So that was really, really difficult. Like that was one of the worst things to go through as well. Like it was horrible. I think I was out of the water for 3 weeks and obviously had to miss regionals, which I was more gutted about missing regionals than I was like gutted about being ill. But yeah, glandular fever. It was a horrible experience.
Yeah.
It took a while.
Would you say from your side of it, is it more like a physical challenge, or would you say it's been more of a mental challenge, or a bit of both?
Definitely when it comes to illness, mental, I think.
Yeah.
Because like I'm one of these people that think like if I miss a session, like I miss a swim session or a gym session, I'm thinking, well, I'm losing out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel guilty for missing a session, even though I'm ill. And
Yeah.
like, it's trying to learn to like be like, no, like you're doing this for your health. Like,
Yeah.
you physically cannot go into training like this. And like with having glandular fever, that's when I like had like lung tests, like breathing tests and stuff like that, like after it. And that's when I actually like tried like an inhaler and stuff. But it turns out like my lung capacity was like really, really good. Like I was breathing fine, like better than
Yeah.
normal actually. So it was good that I made like a full recovery after that. And another serious illness, like I mentioned before, I've had COVID. Again, it's like a mental barrier for that because and even though we weren't swimming at the time, but I feel like if I'm not doing something in the house,
Yeah.
all the work that I've been doing, it's flying away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I still managed to make a schedule while I had COVID to just go on the stationary bike and just cycle for an hour just aerobically. Yes, I was
Yeah.
knackered after it, but like I felt for me my own
Felt better
satisfaction.
in yourself.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
my own satisfaction that I've done something today. You know what I mean? And the other serious illness that I've had was swine flu.
Oh, bloody hell, swine flu. God, forgot about
Yeah,
that.
like that was back in 2010. Again,
Yeah.
that was pretty much round about the same time when I broke my wrist. So it was just
Oh,
like
wow.
everything was just
Everything's come
happening.
to you at once.
Yeah. I remember. I really remember having swine flu because of that. That's when I got my dog.
Yeah.
Because I think my parents felt sorry for me, so we got a dog.
Oh.
Um,
Oh,
so
that's
that
fine. So, but you had COVID and you didn't get a dog then. So,
and but yeah, like that lifted my spirits up a bit actually. I
yeah.
soon felt better after that. But it again, it's just like I feel like with injuries, it's definitely more of a physical side than mental. I feel like
Yeah.
with illness, it's just pure mental for me because like I said before, I just go through these phases where I'm like, everyone else is training, I'm in the house in bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's
I
gonna
think,
make it through? You know, like
yeah.
not make it through, but like who's gonna be making them gains, them strides? And I'm like, I'm lying in bed here, ill,
Yeah.
and
I think the thing is, though, I'd say for any athlete or whoever, like for all the viewers that are listening and watching, like, it kind of that thing for an athlete to go, like, if we miss one session, it's like that could be the difference of like making a European Worlds or Olympic Games, Paralympic Games, compared to the session what someone else has hit who's taken your place. Technically, that could be you. And I feel like now, like over the years, it's kind of like learning your body to go, right, okay, we do need to take a bit of a step back because at the end of the day, if you put yourself in like your fitness environment, whether it's in the gym, in the pool, on the track, in wherever it may be, or on the road, wherever, if you did that session when you're ill, you could potentially put yourself up for a further 2 weeks. Where it's like, would you rather take that 24, 48 hours to try and make yourself better and get straight back into it, or suffer 2 weeks being out?
yeah,
So
that was the type of reassurance that I had when I had them illnesses and
yeah,
obviously the injuries. It's just like, what would you rather do? Would you rather go back while you're ill and make yourself worse, or maybe
yeah,
yourself go out further, or get through this now and then when you start to like build your strength up and stuff like that, it will be a lot easier
yeah,
doing it like that when you've recovered. But yeah, like there were, it's like when I do get ill, I get very
ill.
very ill. And another one would have been tonsillitis. Like,
Oh, it's not that, man.
like I.
I'm joking.
It,
For
it,
all the viewers, I am joking about that because I know how bad it is. Like with tonsillitis, like yes, it can proper drain you,
oh,
like really take it out.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, because made my tonsils disappear actually.
yeah. Oh god.
But yeah, that's like everything with me about injuries and illness.
Yeah, I think the motto is as well. Like it doesn't matter what it is, like whatever challenge you're going through in life, like whether it's an illness, whether it's an injury, whether it's a brand new injury that you've never come across before, whether it's something now what you're looking at and saying, yes, I've had these challenges, yes, and I know I face setbacks, but it's learning from those setbacks to go, right, do you know what? Whether it's tonsillitis, whether it's COVID, whatever it is, yes, you're out of water for that period of time, but at the end of the day, would you rather be out 1, 2, 3 days compared to like a month, 2 months that could potentially put you out for if you're going to make yourself worse? I think unless you learn from it and push yourself forward and say, do you know what? Yes, I have took a bit of a step back, but I've come back better and mentally made myself better. And I don't think nothing, like you might probably agree with this year, but mentally wise, it'll never prepare you for an illness to actually get yourself back around from it, type of thing. So
I feel like when you're younger as well, like you don't really listen to your body either. You just feel like, oh,
yeah,
it's just a cold, you know what I
I'm
mean?
invincible.
I can power through, and like I was very very guilty for that, and I probably was really
Yeah,
selfish at the time actually because I just loved training, I loved racing, and I probably did push my body too far at
yeah,
some points in like my career, which then caused me to be like run down and everything like that. But like I do feel like when you get older and when you get into them senior categories, you do start to learn about your body, and you need to like
yeah,
realize what is important, and like you need to know what you need to do in order for you to progress whatever goals you have and
yeah,
whatever sacrifices that you do make.
definitely.
So like moving away from injuries and illness, is there anything that you faced as a challenge, whether that would be like moving to a different club or meeting new people, like social side?
Like, yes, like I am a sociable person. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't think there's ever been a place where I've been and I've not like socialized with anyone before. I feel like another challenge for me would be like moving from club to club because you kind of you settled on a place and you know who people are. Yes, there's always going to be people coming and going. You've got the younger guys coming through, the older guys who's like retiring, going on new things, and it's like you getting to know new teammates who's coming in. But moving club, that for me, so I know when I moved from Durham down to Manchester and stuff like that, and then back up, it's kind of like, whoa, what on earth's going on with everything? And it's kind of training your brain to go, yes, you're doing changes for the right thing, not like, oh, am I doing, like, you're questioning yourself and doubting yourself about it. From the social side, it's not a problem because I feel like I can go out, if you put me into a situation, I can go and communicate with people. It's more training yourself, and yes, it doesn't matter what age you are, where you're going, you're always going to be nervous for your first session going in. You're like, shit, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
But it's once you get past that and you've done a couple of sessions, then it's absolutely fine. But I think once you learn a new program that you're going to do, what you're going to be doing, your outcomes for that season, just setting yourself small little goals, that's what makes you like the individual what you are compared to going in and being like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just here. I'm just here for the crack type of thing. But what about you? Did you face any challenges from that side of it, or?
Yeah, well, I feel like it's just like when you do move to a different club, it's like you've made so many memories from the club that you've
Yeah,
been at, and it's just like you're about to make brand new memories moving to a different club, and it's just like for me, I'm like I get like quite guilty. I'm quite like I get guilty very easily, so like I felt guilt for leaving the club that I was at to move to a different club. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But it's learning to understand like why I'm doing the moves that I'm doing is because it is to help progress my swimming career.
yeah.
Hopefully,
I agree with you on that. I feel like there's times in like our sport and many others across out there that when you move clubs, you've kind of got to take it for you and not be like, oh, I'm not just going to leave my teammates behind because they need me. I feel like you've got to be selfish at times, and it's harsh to say that, but unless you be selfish about it and be like, right, I need to make this change because I want to progress my career. And as long as you know you're making the right move, then there's not a problem with that. But like, I completely agree with you.
see, I'm like a really firm believer of I'm sure which a lot of people are as well is that everything does happen for a reason.
Yeah,
and the reason why you've moved club is like more the fact is like you need a change, you need to progress, like find
Yeah,
your weaknesses and turn them into strengths and everything.
kind of
It's
gives you that mental refresh type of
yeah,
thing.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
It's definitely a mental refresh, and like I remember like my recent change, it definitely was like a mental refresh, and just you do sometimes need a change, and a change does you the
yeah,
world of good.
yeah.
Um,
I feel
yeah,
like you do it for you and not for others, is the best way to describe it.
yeah,
Because I feel like, yes, you might be sitting at what national level, like junior nationals, senior nationals, NNDs, wherever you're at. And it's kind of like, wait there, do I want to be sitting here for the rest of my career? Or do I want to say, I want to progress to an Olympics, I want to go to Commonwealths, I want to go to junior Euros, or wherever it is? Then it's like, right, I need to make this move. Doesn't stuff anyone else. Like
yeah,
that's their decision. If they want to stay with the club, then that's fine. But you're doing it because you know you want to make yourself better. And yes, it might be for the best. It might work out. It might not work out. But it's kind of that risk slash reward balance to get everything right. That's the best way to look at it. To be honest with you.
yeah. You're exactly right, and no transition is going to be
Yeah.
straightforward and easy. But like for me, luckily, like the transitions that I've had, I've been very grateful for and thankful for because I did know the people before I left. Like I did know who they are, and it made the
Yeah.
transition a lot more smoothly. And like from every program that I've been in, like it's made me the person who I am today, and I've made so many good, like amazing memories, amazing gains. Like I've made really good strides throughout like my career, and hopefully there'll be many more to come.
Yeah. If from obviously what we've spoken about today, and like within the whole, like for all the viewers that are listening, what would be the one message what you'd give? Like any bit of message, like advice, whatever it is, what would you say to people now who's listening to this?
Yeah, I feel like from this podcast, like, and speaking about injuries and illness, I do think that being patient and being resilient plays a massive factor into your career of whatever that you do. Because
Yeah.
if you learn to be patient and be resilient, the rewards will follow soon after that.
Yeah.
And also, trust the process. And as bad as it sounds, enjoy the process as well. Because like
Yeah.
all these challenges that you go throughout your career, it does make you who you are today. It's like what I've said before earlier in the podcast about like that traumatic experience of getting them wires yanked out my arm with no anesthetic.
Yeah.
That it's made my pain threshold so high. So when I go into a session and do, oh god, I don't even know. It's been like so long since I've done. But yeah, like when you do like a really hard threshold set or a
Yeah.
VO2 max or like just stand up swims, like I soon learned to handle it better than what I did before I've had like these
Yeah.
injuries and illnesses because like I've been there, done that. I can do it again. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But yeah, what about you? What message would you give out?
I think for me, it's kind of that can do attitude and just being like, yes, I've had the setbacks. Yes, I've had this happening in life. I've had struggles going on for the rest of this year. Yes, COVID's hit. Yes, we've been out the water. Whatever it is, don't let it knock you and think, oh, well, that's it. Game over for me. I'm done. I'll go and progress to something else. It's kind of saying, do you know what? Yes, we've had setbacks. Yes, we've had this time in life, which is not only me, but others around us. But do the right thing by you and trust yourself. And it's like the motto, like believe and achieve. If you believe in yourself, believe in the group around you, and believe in others, then that'll get you a long way in life, and you will go on to achieve what you want. Because without that, you're not going to see yourself progression. And I think it's important to take the time, whether it's like you take a bit of a break, whether it's saying, do you know what, I need to just ease off training and drop a couple of sessions, or do I just say, right, I'm going to take a year out and then come back and just mentally refresh? because that's the biggest learning curve for Ireland. Just para swimming is tough, like AB swimming as well. And I'm pleased I took the break when I did, because I feel so much better for it now. And I would highly recommend to just take that thought process to go, right, okay, I maybe doing it, to take a step back for a bit and then come back at it and just attack it full force.
Yeah. And again, it's just like learning about yourself as well, and learning about your body.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Trust your inner instincts rather than just going off your gut feeling, to be honest with you.
Yeah, definitely. Right, we'll wrap this podcast up. Thank you very much if you have listened all the way through. We would love to know what challenges that you guys have faced, whether you would like to talk about it, about whether that would be injuries, illness, a social side, or again, like transitioning from different places, whether it would be from a different club, from a different workplace, or anything like that. We would love to have you guys share that, and we will definitely be message back, or we will get in contact, or anything like that if you do put something through. Once again, thank you very much for listening, and again, we will see you on the next one.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope that you enjoyed, and we are so excited to bring brand new content to this. So make sure you check out our socials to stay up to date of when we'll be posting next. Until the next one, take care, and remember, believe and achieve.